The issue now is when Texas National Guard came in and secured the area, the argument from the feds was you do not have the authority to do this. Right. They did it anyway. Is Kemp going to, which side is he on? There's a showdown. I mean, it's a legal showdown.
I think you're right. It's conflicting reports because most of what we've been seeing is helping Texas Guard at the border. That's mostly
maybe they just inadvertently called them Border Patrol.
But this is assumptive language.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It is intentionally vague language
and they're
to
not
make someone
heading out for like a month or
reporting.
So. Yeah,
the other thing is,
which is possible.
Every ambitious Republican governor, or maybe even some non-ambitious ones, end up sending a contingent of whether it's state police or National Guard to Texas or something to engage in certain border enforcement activities. Does it make that much of a difference ultimately? I mean, I guess nice headlines out of it.
Well, so
if they have an inconvenient Republican primary challenge or something, maybe it kind of fortifies their position. But I don't see what impact it makes.
We have a quote from Kemp saying their contributions will be outlined by the official request made by the Texas Guard to our own Guard and director, James Stallings at Gemma.
That clears it up.
That clears it up a lot. So this does sound like Kemp is reinforcing Abbott's position against Joe Biden.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, I mean, I think clearly it's an attempt to have a bi-state arrangement with Texas because they see themselves as an opposition to the national government, at least on this policy.
So what does that mean then? We now have several states, I believe 10 states have sent law enforcement, National Guard and law enforcement to Texas to secure the border in defiance of the federal government.
Mm-hmm. And we had Trump saying, everyone who can, go ahead and do it.
That was crazy.
That was wild.
Donald Trump said anyone who could should do it. And now Kemp is on board.
Well, how much in defiance is it really just by dispatching these groups of
National Guard?
I mean,
Texas
they're not actively opposing. I mean, they're trying to engage in enforcement activity. They're not proactively like blunting the influence of the federal government. I mean, you could say it's like a political statement against the current federal government policy, but it's not like actively opposing the authority of the federal government.
What do you mean?
When you say
so like the Texas National Guard is, according to the Biden administration, in violation of federal law.
Right.
So if like Greg Abbott were to rob a bank and Kemp said, I'm going to send some guys to help you, you'd be like, well, he's not actually working against the government. I mean, what's he really doing but going into
we
a
don't
bank?
know that the Georgia National Guard are going to be engaging in activities related to border enforcement that the Biden administration says are illegal. I mean, there could be other activities they could engage in that the Biden administration hasn't said that about. Right?
I think the way that I would put it simply is, if a person is robbing a bank and you do anything to help them, like even bring them a cheeseburger, you're an accomplice.
So if you do anything to help the Texas National Guard at all?
Well, that's assuming that what they're doing is
hand out water bottles or something.
The federal, I don't
think the federal government has the authority to allow 8,000 illegal economic migrants in every day.
Criminal aliens.
Yeah, why would they have that authority to allow that? That doesn't make any sense. Why would they have the authority to allow our country's military to surrender to an incompetent force? They don't have that kind of authority. You strip them of command if they're trying to ruin us.
If the argument is that Texas does not have the authority to remove CBP from an international border and they're violating federal jurisdiction, the only real issue is like we have a national level conflict of law enforcement in a way we've not seen in a very, very long time. A lot of people like to bring up the Bundy Ranch stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but that was private citizens versus a federal agency.
Yeah, that's totally
We're
different.
looking at state National Guard armed troops who have been deployed with weapons to repel Border Patrol agents from the border and to place border barriers in front of what the feds are declaring as their jurisdiction. And now you have Kemp announcing the deployment of 15 to 20 troops to assist Texas in this effort. What do you think would happen if you, Michael, went up to a federal law enforcement agent, say FBI, and told them, get away from this border right now or else, with guns? Like you and your buddies got guns, walked up and said, all of you FBI guys have to leave now or else. I think you would be violently arrested and you'd go to jail for a long time.